the information. There we are. So the recording started now. It's just in terms of ensuring that we can circulate the messages and the general thrust of what we're trying to say this afternoon. As I said, as on the slides there, we'll want to sort of give you a quick recap of the Shared Prosperity Fund, go into Multiply, what Multiply is about, some case studies across Wales and the UK. Actually, we've had assistance from colleagues in other regions and UK government around showing some examples of what can be done with Multiply. We totally appreciate it. It's a bit of a difficult fund. It's pretty prescriptive, but I think the main message I want to provide this afternoon is we want to be flexible. We appreciate the sort of local intricacies of how we manage the SPF in the region. We appreciate, the narrow focus of Multiply, but again, there's no such thing as a bad idea when it comes to this. There's £5 million remaining in Mid Wales in respect of Multiply. We don't want to lose it. This is a huge sum of funding for Mid Wales, and we want to utilise it as effectively as possible. We don't want to spend it on anything and everything, but with your help and support and organisations that do know the landscape and the needs of the people that ultimately it'll benefit, we want to have those conversations about what is possible and to work flexibly around you as much as possible. So anyway, without any further ado, I'll run through these slides quickly then. So in terms of the Shared Prosperity Fund, you're all probably well aware of the Shared Prosperity Fund and what it's about. But, it is, a 3-year sort of programme, started really last year, and we've got up until sort of December 2024 for delivery. It says 2025, that's March 2025, that's the end point in terms of UK government, but we still want to try and achieve expenditure to come to an end by the end of December 2024, because we've got to close it down in January, February, March 2025. So we do say 3-year programme, but because of those sort of intricacies of how government funding works and working within financial years, December 24 is the end point. So you can see why we want to hold this webinar now and why we want to share with you the funding remaining and how to approach it, because we haven't got a lot of time. So in total, it's about 42 million across Mid Wales, and it's a mix of capital and revenue, but predominantly revenue in terms of the funding. Really, it is about building pride in place and improving life chances, as you know. So this is largely seen as a successor to European funds, but it's not. It's a different thing and a different character. And I'm sure everyone, I'm just scanning the people in the room, you're all pretty well aware of the general intent of Shared Prosperity Fund. And as I've confirmed, the delivery geography is Mid Wales in terms of Powys and Ceredigion. Both authorities have got their own local partnerships set up, but it is being delivered as part of a bigger regional investment plan that aligns with a lot of the work that we're doing in terms of growing Mid Wales, but the decision making is local. But as I said earlier, we want to work flexibly around you and with you around how Multiply works on the ground in Mid Wales. We'll move on to the next slide then. So for those that have been and have been successful with Shared Prosperity Fund projects, obviously the 2 local authorities have been working very hard to sort of look at the applications and assessments for those projects coming through the pipeline. And overall, we've got pretty good commitment levels. The sort of what the Shared Prosperity Fund can support in Mid Wales is all outlined in this document called the Mid Wales Regional Investment Plan. And there's some colleagues who were with us a year and a half ago, or a year and 2 months ago, I think exactly, when we're developing the Regional Investment Plan for Mid Wales, will recall, the Shared Prosperity Fund has 3 main pillars in terms of communities in place, supporting local business and people and skills, and then multiplies a 4th pillar with its own budget allocation. And that's why it is a challenge. I think it is treated separately to the core SPF, which is the 3 first pillars. In terms of where we're at, in terms of the first 3 pillars, we've got very good commitment levels this year. Both local authorities are now taking stock of where they're at in terms of this year on the pipeline of projects for next year. We will make a decision jointly between Powys and Ceredigion if and when to do another call for the first 3 pillars, so on communities in place, supporting local business and people and skills. But as you can appreciate, there's a lot of small projects or a larger number of smaller projects coming through this type of funding, so that both local authority teams are working incredibly hard with yourselves and partners that are applying for the projects now to get those decisions through, get those assessments done, and award the grant funding offer letters. And they're starting to trickle through now and increase in numbers quite a bit now. So the general Shared Prosperity Fund is being delivered, project delivery is happening. But specifically for this afternoon, we want to focus on Multiply. So to move on then, Becky. So I think it's over to you then, Becky, to lead on Multiply and what Multiply is about.
Great, thanks, Karen. I hope everybody can hear me okay. So what is Multiply? I think Karen's given a really good introductory overview of how it fits in with the overarching Shared Prosperity Fund. But it is a new programme funded by the UK government, and it covers the whole of the UK. It's worth approximately £559 million over that 3-year period that Karen mentioned, so 2022 to 2025. It's all about improving numeracy skills through free personal tutoring, digital training and flexible courses. And it's aimed at adults aged 19 and over who do not have a GCSE grade C or above or equivalent in maths, and that's quite specific as a requirement. Those individuals might be already working towards a maths qualification. They might need some specific numeracy skills for their work or to progress in their job, or they just might want to brush up on skills to help them get on in life. So that's kind of Multiply in a nutshell. If we take a look at the budget allocation for Mid Wales, as Karen said, the Multiply budget and the programme is separate to the core Shared Prosperity Fund budget, which covers communities in place, supporting local business and people and skills that some of you might be already familiar with. For this financial year and next, Mid Wales has a budget allocation of approximately 5 million, as you'll see in the table there in the slides. But approximately 50% of that budget has been earmarked or committed to projects funded in previous rounds in both local authorities. So there is around 50% of that budget left, as I said, so still plenty of money to go around is the message that we're saying. And just an important point that with Multiply, the budget is all revenue. There are no capital elements. So the next 2 slides will show the various types of projects or interventions as they're known in UK government terms. There are 10 to choose from. But just to say, if you've had a look at our Mid Wales Regional Investment Plan, you may have noticed that only 3 of these 10 were included in that document. But UK government have since confirmed that we can invite projects from the complete list of 10. So all these options that we'll run quickly through now will be open to you all to develop projects under. And as you'll see, they are very varied. So I'll just quickly run through them. So we've got courses designed to increase confidence with numeracy for those needing the first steps towards formal qualifications. There's courses for parents wanting to increase their numeracy skills to help their children and to help with their own progression. There's also courses aimed at prisoners, those recently released from prison or on temporary licence. Courses aimed at people who can't apply for certain jobs because they lack numeracy skills, or to encourage people to upskill to access a certain job or career. And there's also additional relevant maths modules that could be embedded into other vocational courses. And an example of that might be a construction course that could embed or include things like ratios for mixing paint or assessing roof angles, calculating the number of bricks needed, and that kind of thing. So that could be done through that intervention. Innovative programmes delivered together with employers is another option, and that would be courses designed to cover specific numeracy skills that are required in the workplace. We can develop new intensive and flexible courses, again, targeted at people without that level 2 GCSE in maths. There's also options for courses designed to help people use numeracy to manage their money. And again, a specific one is for courses aimed at over 19s that are leaving or have just left the care system. And the last one is activities, courses or provision developed in partnership with community organisations and other partners aimed at engaging the hardest to reach learners. So those are the 10 so-called interventions, or kind of project areas, I suppose is the easiest way to think of it as. So what outputs and outcomes are UK government looking for within the Multiply programme? So your projects would need to achieve at least one of the required outputs listed there. So they are number of adult numeracy courses run through Multiply, number of people participating in those courses, number of people achieving a qualification, number of courses developed in collaboration with employers, number of people that are referred from partners onto upskilling courses, and number of different cohorts participating in numeracy courses. So cohorts in this context means the different groups of people that were set out in those 10 interventions that we looked at. So for example, it might be parents or prisoners, or, you know, care leavers, that kind of thing, that we identified in those 10 interventions. And similarly for outcomes, there are only 2 to choose from. So you'd have to be looking at achieving one or both of these. And they are the number of adults that are achieving maths qualifications and or the number of adults participating in maths qualifications. But it's important to point out that with Multiply, UK government is interested in the progress or the difference that the training or the course has made to an individual's confidence. So what they refer to as the learner progression, and that should be a key focus underpinning all Multiply projects, with the aim of encouraging learners from engagement onto more substantive forms of provision and maths qualification courses, if appropriate for that individual. So the next few slides will show you some examples of Multiply projects that are operating in other parts of Wales. So these have been provided to us by UK government. So the project on your screen here now is from Monmouthshire. They are running a 6-week budget cookery course. So they're preparing a different meal each week, and time is spent discussing the numeracy elements within that meal. So cost of the ingredients, the measuring amounts, calculating the cooking times and the temperatures. So that's quite an interesting example I thought to share with you. Another local authority area is undertaking a 5-week breakfast bingo course, and they are covering all aspects of maths, as you can see listed there within that course. And they say that following each session, the parents are asked how they found the numeracy questions, with a view then to engaging them and supporting them onto further courses to increase their confidence. So that's very much that learner progression concept that, that I just mentioned a little bit earlier. This slide shows 2 further examples. So on the left-hand side of the screen is a project from Blaenau Gwent, and they are holding sessions in all schools across the area to find out how primary schools teach maths. So it's very much aimed at parents who are looking to help and support their children with maths homework. So again, another interesting idea perhaps. And on the right-hand side is another example from Torfaen, and they are holding pottery and play sessions aimed at parents and children who want to have fun and improve their confidence with numbers at the same time. So I hope that helps to give an overview of some of the projects operating across Wales at the moment, funded through Multiply. I'm now going to hand over to David Price, who's manager of the Mid Wales Regional Skills Partnership. Thanks.
Thanks, Peggy. Thanks. Okay, so just a bit of an overview of Regional Skills Partnership. I know a lot of you probably are aware of it, but just to give you an idea of what we do. So we're aligned to the Growing with Wales priority sectors. So we support the same sectors, but we've added 2 additional, which is health and social care in the public sector. We are foremost a strategic body that represents regional interests. We review regional skills provision. We influence decision on skills training and education with Welsh Government, and we produce a number of bits of information, labour market information, intelligence, and we analyse local skills in the region. The way we do that, we got a 3-step process. We take a regional data skills analysis, which we've got currently, which was last year, which is done by a private organisation that looks at the regional skills data for Mid Wales. We then overlay that with the RSP employer survey data. So there's a survey out at the moment which we'd encourage everybody to complete, especially if you're an employer, explaining what sort of skills you're looking for within your organisation. And then we sense check that sort of data information with cluster groups or sector business groups that are specific to the sectors that we align with Growing with Wales. So the reason I just give you the overview was just one, asking for people to complete the survey. And so you can see we're going on to the next slide. Beck, can you go on the next slide, please? We've got some feedback from that data, from that 3-step process that we just wanted to share with you, which could
We seem to have lost Di there. He may come back, but I think what he was about to sort of cover was effectively some of the key things that they've already found in terms of the Regional Skills Partnership. So I think, and this is, I think, as Di was underlining there, this is why it's important also that yourselves and colleagues, if you can, promote the work of the Regional Skills Partnership. It does help in terms of intelligence and awareness of the key issues in Mid Wales, and it helps us strategically plan with you via the RSP, via the commissioning routes, and funding like the Shared Prosperity Fund, where we know how to best utilise some of these programmes. I think, obviously, I don't think you would be surprised, looking at who is on the call. It's not a surprise to any of you in terms of, I think, where the key sort of pressure points are in terms of businesses in the region around cash handling, cost control numeracy, stock control, digital numeracy. I think there's a lot of conversations we have with businesses around the sort of in-work readiness of people, no matter what age they are, and some of the sort of basic sort of numeracy. And that's why we're sort of flagging this, I suppose, in terms of the relationship to multiply and whether or not there's anything we can do in this space. I think, Becky, that covers that slide. I think that's back to you, isn't it, Becky? Or is it me? Sorry. Oh, sorry, it is me, sorry. Sorry, forgetting that my own running order here for our own event. So in terms of next steps then, I think, so we've covered there in terms of the multiply, and just to summarise, we're not specific to the 3 themes we had in the Regional Investment Plan. UK government have informed us that, anything's on the table now in terms of the prospectus. There's 10 themes and the multiply under there, that's up for grabs. We have sort of shared that press release, and it's by virtue of you being here, you've either picked that up or direct mail, emails from the team. So we are going to open the call now in terms of, because we know there's some organisations with some good ideas and good proposals out there. We want to give you enough time as well, so we are proposing to keep it open for the whole month until the 29th of October. I say enough time, it's not a lot of time also, I appreciate, but we're going to try and do what we can. Obviously, if you have got a proposal and you can't meet that deadline, then let the team know and we'll see what we can do. What we don't want to do is create artificial deadlines. And if there's a good project that needs, a couple of weeks to finish off, then, we need to be flexible and work around you as well. So the key thing there is communication with the Powys team or the Ceredigion team or via Becky and the team in terms of if it's a more strategic regional bid. Just, talk to us about your ideas. Let's try and make this work. As I've sort of said at the beginning, there will be, we have got to put a stop date on project delivery in terms of 31st December 2024. I know that is hard and it is difficult to manage. We are having those conversations as a lead authority with UK government, joined up with other lead authorities across Wales and the UK actually, because I would prefer to be in a position where I can close down the programme overall 3 months, from the sort of April, sort of May, June of 2025. But we've got to unfortunately finalise everything by March 2025. So that is why we've still got that drop dead date of 31st of December 2024. As I said, in terms of the application forms, and guidance notes, they are available on the local authority website in English and Welsh. And what we'll do is to share these slides and the recording with people on the webinar, and we'll point you to a web link also where you can find this information. But again, with a fair wind behind us, we hope that we can get applications in by the end of October. That the assessments then can take place in short shift in November, and then the decisions by the local partnerships in November and December. I appreciate that we're still talking December for decision, but we've got to be sensible around projects coming in and the current crop of projects we've got in Shared Prosperity Fund as well to get through the system. But again, that's why we're trying to sort of sequence this and let you know now early doors we have got money there and we need to spend it effectively. I think that's that slide, isn't it, Becky?
Yeah.
So there's web links there. So when we'll share these slides with you, we'll share those links with you. And again, but again, if there's a lack of clarity, or if there's anything we can do simpler, then just let us know, talk to us. Contact details are on the next slide, so you'll have these to hand as well. As I said, my role and Becky's role is really to run managing it all as a whole, that relationship with UK government. But Becky manages the fund for us strategically across Mid Wales, helping to sort of join up the dots between the two local authorities and ensure there's consistency up to a point. And then Eilis, from a Ceredigion perspective, manages the Ceredigion aspect of the fund, and then Louise Nicholson in Powys manages the Powys aspect of the fund. I think that covers our sort of information to you guys. We will now move to sort of the Q&A session, and we'll stop recording at that point. I also think you can put your hands up and come on as well if you want to.